Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about the new movie, The Adam Project. The Adam Project is a Netflix film directed by Shawn Levy, who has worked on a lot of movies that I recognize. All three of the Night at the Museum movies, Free Guy, Real Steel, Cheaper by the freaking dozen, one of my favorite childhood movies of all time. So he's done a lot of good work, but The Adam Project synopsis is as follows. After accidentally crash landing in 2022, time-traveling fighter pilot Adam Reed teams up with his 12-year-old self for a mission to save the future. I was interested in watching this movie not only because of the all-star cast, but also because it seemed like a decent idea for a movie. And at the very least, the trailers looked well produced, so I thought this movie might be worth a watch. So without further ado, let's get into the 6 things that make a movie great. 1. The plot. I really enjoyed the plot of this movie. Obviously, it centers around time travel, but it's also able to kind of call out some of the misconceptions about time travel that we've had, or making references to popular time traveling concepts that we've explored before, while also establishing the rules of time travel in this movie. And ultimately, this movie revolves around the power struggle that comes from the discovery of time travel. But this movie does a good job, and it's enjoyable the whole way through. And it does a good job of addressing certain things about time travel while also having a really nice payoff at the end. And there are a couple subplots in this film as well, but they all pour into character development and the overarching plot. I was interested from start to finish. The plot did a really good job of balancing everything, so I have to give plot a thumbs up. 2 is family friendliness. As you would expect from any movie with Ryan Reynolds, there is some perverse language usually involved in banter between Ryan Reynolds and another character. In this situation, it is with the younger version of himself, played by Walter Scoble. They don't go overboard with it and very much keep it within the PG-13 rating. And in addition to that, this movie tackles some really deep content involving self-progression and reflection and family dynamics, and it does it really well. It's really refreshing to see a film tackle topics like these and do it in a very heartfelt way instead of trying to blast us with agendas. And I have a lot of respect for a film that can do that and do it successfully, especially in our current culture and in current cinema. There is some violence, there is some fighting, there is some perverse language here and there, but overall this movie has a great message behind it and some really important things that people can learn while watching the movie themselves. So I have to give family friendliness a thumbs up. 3 is acting and script. As always, Ryan Reynolds plays Ryan Reynolds. I think what I recognized, a lot of the issue I had with Ryan Reynolds acting, especially in Red Notice and a lot of the movies he's being typecast in, there aren't a lot of moments where he's able to really dive into his own feelings and reflection without just quickly resurfacing all of it with a funny comment or just deflecting emotions, basically. In this movie, we really get to see Ryan Reynolds actually dive into those emotions, identify them, and address them instead of just blowing them off. And I think that's what makes this performance of Ryan Reynolds better than other ones, in my opinion. Most of the acting that we see is between Ryan Reynolds and Walker Scoble, and their dynamic with each other is fantastic. There wasn't a moment in my mind where I was like, wow, they're trying way too hard to make this kid be like Ryan Reynolds. Walker Scoble does an excellent job of balancing Ryan Reynolds on screen and bickering back and forth with him. I didn't think they would be able to find someone that could do that on screen, but they did with Walker Scoble, so huge props to him. As always, there's great performances by Jennifer Garner, Zoe Saldana, and Mark Ruffalo. But I will say with Mark Ruffalo, it seemed like, for some weird reason, I have no idea why, but it seemed like his voice was just an octave lower than I've normally heard it, and it was messing with my head. I could be completely wrong. I have no clue. Even with that, his performance is great. And the script of this movie, bravo. You don't have to fill a movie with complexity and agendas in order to get a good story. If you do those things, you may check boxes and you may get really good reviews on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb, but you're not going to win the heart of your audience. This movie wins the heart of the audience. Not only is it a great movie with good moral values throughout and self-reflection and the future self getting to talk to the younger self, but the dialogue between characters is heartfelt and real. There aren't any wasted lines or filler. Every line had a purpose, and there were lines that hit deep. There was multiple times where I found myself tearing up in this movie just because I was like, man, the things I would go back and tell my younger self. There's a specific scene where older Adam finds himself in a bar with his mom. And the conversation that they have, if that doesn't bring you to tears, then I don't know what will. But the fact that this movie can do that and move you just goes to show that that's the kind of caliber this movie is. Shawn Levy knows what he's doing, and he did an excellent job with the script. So acting and script gets a huge thumbs up. 4 is character development. Oh baby. I'm sure that all of us wish that they could go back and tell their younger selves something. And this movie really lays into that. The character development that you get to see between the older version of Adam and the younger version of Adam, it's brilliant. And not only are they building each other's characters separately, but they are the same person. And that can kind of break your brain when you think about it. It's done in a really beautiful way. And the character arc that you get to see with Ryan Reynolds' Adam is really well done. And this movie has a really heartfelt undertone of family dynamic, and that's not something that many movies touch on anymore. It's all very masterfully done. It makes the character development all the way around really good. And you can identify with these characters. No family is perfect. There's conflict and tension that can build up and store itself in your heart for years. And you can either deal with it or not. And if you do or don't deal with it, that can change who you are and who you become. And this movie does a really great job of developing that and showing it and showing that you can still change. The character development is amazing. And for a movie that I wasn't expecting to go there, I was blown away. Character development gets a huge thumbs up. 5 is CG. Most of the CG that you see is with the spaceships and some of the gear that Ryan Reynolds' Adam uses from the future, and it all looks amazing. There wasn't a single moment that took me out of the film where you're like, wow, that's definitely CG. All the CG was really good. And the visuals in this movie were great. The fight scenes are well choreographed. The abilities of some of the tools and weapons that Adam uses are pretty dope. And all of it meshes really well on screen to where it doesn't pull you out of the film and doesn't sink its budget into 1 or 2 CG moments while compromising the rest in the film. So the CG and visuals in this movie are awesome, and I have to give it a thumbs up. And 6 is rewatchability. This movie is great. If you're needing a feel-good, pick-me-up movie to watch that also has some action in it and some hilarious moments, but also has a good moral message behind it, this is the movie for you. This movie is easily rewatchable, and I definitely will be watching it again sometime soon. So rewatchability gets a thumbs up. After getting burnt out on Ryan Reynolds for a hot minute and not really knowing what to expect going into this movie given the nature of some of the terrible stuff that I've watched recently, I was more than happily surprised with The Adam Project. With all things considered, I have to give The Adam Project an 8.5 out of 10. This movie had witty lines, it had funny moments, it had great character building, it had very deep, heartfelt moments, it had action. So if you're looking for a movie to watch, I would definitely recommend The Adam Project and say it is absolutely worth your time watching. The fact that Peacemaker got a better score on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes than this movie tells you all you need to know about modern critics and how much attention you need to pay to them. None at all. They're garbage. If you've seen The Adam Project, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. As always, I appreciate your love and support, and I'll catch you guys and gals in the next one.